I mean, they weren't assholes. They were nice men, but they were hardcore.
Sam Elliott's deep, rugged tone stamped itself into pop culture history, instantly recognizable behind that famous mustache, the wide-brimmed hats, and his slow, confident cowboy stride that said it all without a word. But there's a twist most fans never saw coming, a storm he's kept bottled up for years. For all the respect Sam earned across his incredible 6-decade career, there are a few actors he's never forgiven. Some rubbed him the wrong way by not taking the craft seriously, while others crossed him in ways he stayed silent about, until now. At 80 years old, Sam finally dropped the quiet act and started speaking his truth. And once you hear who's on his no-go list, you might never see them the same again. Let's start with the moment that broke his patience, the one actor who pushed him so far he walked off set and didn't look back. That man was Kevin Costner, the so-called cowboy Sam could never vibe with. Sam Elliott built his entire legacy on being authentic. Every role felt earned. Every line came from a place of truth. He didn't just play a cowboy, he lived it. Raised around ranch life, he knew the dust, the hard work, and the quiet code of the West deep in his bones. Sam's whole presence felt real, like you could almost smell the saddle leather in his voice and see the stories written in his stare. So when Kevin Costner rolled onto the scene in Wyatt Earp and later strutted through Yellowstone, Sam wasn't buying it. Costner, in Sam's eyes, was Hollywood's polished version of a cowboy, showing up with spotless boots, careful delivery, and camera-perfect lighting, like he was posing for a magazine instead of riding through real dirt. Sam once confided to a close friend that Kevin Costner plays a rancher like it's dress-up, saying he was basically pretending to live a life he never truly knew. While millions of fans were glued to Yellowstone, caught up in the sweeping camera shots, the heavy drama, and the cinematic tension, Sam wasn't impressed one bit. He saw right through it. To him, it wasn't the West he grew up in. It was a shiny fantasy, built for people who'd never set a fence post or caught the smell of morning cattle. To Sam, the whole thing looked like a polished postcard, nice to frame, but far from real. Some insiders even whispered that Sam was offered a cameo role, but he flat out turned it down, calling the show a soap opera with a cowboy hat. That decision wasn't just about rejecting a script, it was a loud and clear message about what Yellowstone stood for, and Sam wanted no part of it. For Elliott, westerns weren't about fancy lighting or perfect camera angles. They were a code, built on grit, quiet power, and characters who said more with one stare than a whole page of dialogue. In Sam's eyes, Costner brought flash and Hollywood polish, but left the soul of the West behind. Even when the two were in the same room, the vibe was icy. One producer claimed they never raised their voices, but the chill between them could freeze a desert. And that was only the start of the storm. Next came Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor Sam said was way too British for the West. In 2021, Sam stunned fans and industry insiders alike when he spoke out about the power of the dog. Sam's words hit like a thunderclap, sharp, fast, and impossible to ignore. It wasn't just a debate about pacing or direction anymore. It got personal. He zeroed in on Benedict Cumberbatch with laser precision, taking aim at his accent, his body language, and what Sam called a too polished version of a rugged rancher. And Sam wasn't hiding behind PR filters or sugar-coated interviews either. He said what he meant loud and clear. He spoke with the kind of fire that made every word sound final, like each sentence was a shot straight from the heart. Then came the line that went viral everywhere. "What does this Brit know about the American West?" Sam didn't hold back for even a second. During that podcast, you could hear the disbelief in his voice. He sounded genuinely frustrated, like he couldn't believe what Hollywood was now labeling a Western. The internet exploded almost instantly. Fans of Cumberbatch and defenders of the power of the dog's modern twist on masculinity fired back online, posting faster than anyone could scroll. Social media turned into a full-blown arena overnight, with some calling Sam a relic from another time, someone who refused to move with the changing tides of storytelling. Critics accused him of trying to gatekeep the Western genre, saying he acted like the spirit of the frontier belonged only to him. They claimed he was clinging to an old idea of toughness and didn't want new interpretations taking the spotlight. But Sam didn't flinch, not once. No apology, no polished statement, no walking it back. In Sam's eyes, the power of the dog didn't just miss the heart of the West, it disrespected what it truly represented. He felt the film twisted the meaning of masculinity into something overly staged and artificial, instead of honoring the quiet strength and steady resilience that real Westerns were built on. For him, it wasn't about tearing down one actor, it was about protecting a legacy carved out of grit, wisdom, and unspoken honor. To Sam, real cowboys didn't need long speeches or dramatic tears to show emotion. Their silence was their power. Benedict Cumberbatch never fired back publicly, but word around the industry was that Sam's comments hit harder than expected. Some insiders whispered that studio executives held private meetings, debating whether to issue a subtle response to calm things down. But in the end, Cumberbatch stayed silent, choosing peace over headlines. Sam, though, wasn't backing down. He stood his ground like a cowboy who'd already taken his 10 paces and fired his shot. No hesitation, no second thoughts. To Sam, the West wasn't a movie set, a fashion trend, or some nostalgic filter. It was a way of life, something built from long days, hard lessons, and truths you only learn under the open sky. He wasn't about to let anyone, no matter how famous, talented, or decorated, rewrite the legacy that generations before him lived and breathed. And if people didn't like how he defended that history, Sam wasn't losing a wink of sleep over it. But then came the next name, the one that really shook things up: Ashton Kutcher. Sam believed the actor had let the craft down. To Sam, acting never supposed to be a popularity contest or a launchpad for tech ventures and flashy side projects. Every role, he believed, had to come from something real, something earned through experience, discipline, and heart. So when Ashton Kutcher blew up from that 70s show, sliding into lighthearted rom-coms and later diving into the world of startups, Sam wasn't cheering, he was frustrated. To him, it felt like watching someone skip the hard-earned steps of respect in a craft that demanded time and truth. Still, when the two ended up cast together in Netflix's The Ranch, Sam stayed nothing but professional. He showed up, nailed his scenes, and carried himself with the same quiet strength that had defined his whole career. But even with the cameras rolling smoothly, the tension behind the scenes was hard to miss. Crew members later said the air sometimes felt heavy, like everyone could sense the gap between them. During breaks, Sam would quietly let off steam, shaking his head and muttering, "He's a good guy, but no real actor." It wasn't Kutcher's personality that got under his skin, it was what he symbolized. To Sam, Ashton represented the new Hollywood, a place where algorithms seemed to matter more than instincts, where follower counts outshined resumes, and where charm started passing for talent. In Sam's eyes, that wasn't progress, it was the art form losing its soul. He felt storytelling was being watered down by shortcuts, surface-level ideas, and branding over heart. The old-school weight of a role was getting replaced with quick hits and social buzz. Behind closed doors, Sam wasn't echoing the same friendly energy others showed in public. More than once, people overheard him saying, "He's acting like a guy who learned acting off YouTube." And he meant it. It wasn't bitterness, it was standards. The same high bar he'd protected his entire career. To Sam, the heart of Hollywood was slipping away, traded for shiny visuals, quick hits, and content that looked good but felt empty. So while the ranch came across warm and brotherly to fans at home, behind the cameras, Sam didn't feel that same connection. It wasn't friendship, it was professionalism, pure and simple. Then came another name that rubbed him the wrong way: Nicolas Cage. To Sam, Cage was too loud, too unpredictable, and carried none of the grounded calm that Elliott respected. Sam believed real acting came from the quiet moments, that slow burn in the eyes, the 1 second too long stare, or a heavy silence that spoke louder than words ever could. He saw acting as a craft built through control and detail, not wild movements or over-the-top emotions. So when Nicolas Cage burst into fame with his explosive, eccentric performances, the flailing arms, the sudden bursts of energy, the wide-eyed delivery, Sam didn't see brilliance, he saw chaos. To him, Cage wasn't transforming into a character, he was putting on a one-man spectacle that swallowed everyone else in the scene. Watching him, Sam felt like he was seeing a performance designed for attention, not authenticity. And that just didn't sit right with a man who'd spent his life chasing truth in every role. Sure, Sam was always respectful on set, professional to the core. But warm? Not even close. In later interviews, he carefully sidestepped dropping certain names, but his hints were sharp enough to draw blood. He spoke about actors who hogged the spotlight like it belonged only to them, turning every scene into their personal showcase, louder, flashier, and way too self-focused. His close friends didn't need a name to figure it out. They already knew he was talking about Nicolas Cage. Sam once told a trusted friend, "He's more firework than flame, big bang, no heat," and that line said everything. While Cage are the loyal fan base with his unpredictable, high-energy performances, Sam stood firm in his belief that great acting came from stillness, depth, and patience. He valued performances that pulled audiences in close, that made them lean forward, not jump back in shock. To Sam, Cage represented a growing problem in modern film, a craving for shock over story, spectacle over soul. Hollywood, in his eyes, was drifting towards style without meaning, and Cage's success became a symbol of that shift. Even as Nicolas Cage collected awards and glowing reviews for what critics called brilliantly unrestrained performances, Sam wasn't buying it, not even for a second. In his mind, no trophy could disguise what he saw as empty theatrics dressed up as art. Real acting, he believed, came from going inward, from raw honesty, stillness, and genuine human truth. And to Sam, Cage had walked away from all that long ago. But then came a name that cut even deeper, the one connection that actually hurt him on a personal level. Someone he once respected, maybe even cared about: Jeff Bridges, the friend who slowly drifted away. Sam and Jeff were once seen as two of a kind, cut from the same tough, time-worn fabric, grounded, calm, and powerful, without ever needing to raise their voices. They didn't rely on big speeches or dramatic outbursts to command a scene. Their power lived in their stillness, in the kind of quiet that demanded attention. When they teamed up for the cult classic The Big Lebowski, their on-screen chemistry felt electric, but what fans didn't know was that their bond off-screen was just as real. They'd talk for hours, share laughs, and trade stories about life and the craft. Their friendship seemed rock solid, built on on respect, simplicity, and a shared love for storytelling that came from the soul. But over time, something subtle began to change. It wasn't an explosion, it was a slow fade, like a rope quietly fraying one thread at a time. After Jeff Bridges won his Oscar for Crazy Heart, Sam started noticing small but steady shifts. The man who once carried himself with easy humility began popping up in glossy magazine spreads, dressed in designer suits, standing behind sleek photo-ready backdrops. It wasn't wrong, but to Sam, it didn't feel like Jeff anymore. A close source said Jeff had become distant, harder to reach, harder to read, more wrapped up in Hollywood's rhythm than ever before. Sam couldn't shake the feeling that the raw honesty he'd once admired had been traded for image and polish. In a rare interview, when Sam was asked about the people he'd worked with, he didn't mention Jeff Bridges by name, but he didn't have to. He simply gave a quiet, pointed answer: "Some folks change." Those 3 words hit harder than a shout. Then he added, "Others just show who they always were," and everyone instantly knew who that was meant for. Many took it as a subtle but clear message directed at Jeff Bridges, and even though Jeff never clapped back, always staying calm, collected, and diplomatic, the silence between them spoke volumes. It said more than any interview or headline ever could. The two stopped showing up at the same events, no longer cheering each other on, no longer moving like the old friends who once shared both the screen and the same grounded values. For Sam, the hurt didn't come from jealousy or competition. It wasn't about awards, fame, or even public image. It went deeper than that. This was about something real, something that lived in the heart, not the spotlight. He felt the slow drift of a friendship he had trusted completely, a connection built on authenticity, not Hollywood gloss. When that bond started to crack, it didn't explode, it just faded quietly, leaving behind an ache that only a few close people even noticed. Those who really knew Sam said he didn't feel betrayed, he felt left behind, like the friend he once stood shoulder to shoulder with had stepped into another world, one where image mattered more than truth. But even that quiet heartbreak with Jeff Bridges didn't prepare Sam for the last name on his list, the one he never thought he'd have to speak out loud: Jared Leto. The method actor whose extreme approach pushed Sam's patience to his breaking point. Sam Elliott had always had one major irritation in Hollywood: not confidence, not dedication, but pretension, that loud, attention-seeking energy that turned acting into a spectacle instead of storytelling. So when Jared Leto became infamous for his over-the-top method acting, sending strange gifts to co-stars, staying in character for weeks, and turning sets into emotional obstacle courses, Sam wasn't impressed. He didn't see genius, he saw distraction. To him, all that noise drowned out what really mattered: the work itself. Sam wasn't swayed by headlines or awards, and he definitely wasn't charmed by stunts made for attention. He called that kind of thing theatrics, pretending to be talent, and he didn't whisper it behind closed doors either. He once told a close friend, if it takes that much effort just to act, maybe he's in the wrong business, and he meant every word. To Sam, great acting didn't need viral stories, exaggerated methods, or dramatic on-set legends. It needed focus, humility, and truth. Real skill was about disappearing into a role, not bragging about how hard you tried to do it. Acting, to him, wasn't supposed to feel like a circus. It was supposed to feel human, honest, simple, and rooted in reality. Sam and Jared Leto never actually worked together, but according to insiders, there was a time during early film development when both were linked to the same project. And when Sam found out who the studio wanted as his co-star, he quietly walked away before the deal ever got close to finalizing. Sam liked the script, he liked the director. Everything about the project felt right until he heard Jared Leto had officially been cast. Without hesitation, Sam stepped away, No public statement, no drama, no headlines, just a quiet exit that spoke louder than any press release ever could. That silence was his message, and it showed just how firmly he stood by his code. To Sam, acting was never supposed to be a loud spectacle. It was meant to be grounded, sincere, and alive with real emotion. He believed the best performances came from truth, not noise, from feeling, not flash. And hearing that final name on his list reminded him just how far Hollywood had drifted from the values he'd spent a lifetime defending. Now at 80 years old, Sam Elliott isn't chasing the spotlight anymore. He's guarding what's left of authenticity. He's fighting for honesty, tradition, and the kind of steady restraint that once defined great storytelling. To him, that's what keeps the art pure. And if standing by those beliefs means standing alone, he'll do it proudly. Because in a world full of noise and performance, Sam Elliott still moves like the last real cowboy. Quiet strength, sharp eyes, and no need to prove anything to anyone. So what do you think? Which of these behind-the-scenes clashes caught you off guard? Was Sam being too harsh, or was he just saying what everyone else was too afraid to say? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you respect his honesty, and make sure to subscribe for more stories just like this.